Hello, Montgomery County, and welcome to Talking EdTech with MCIU. My name is Brandon Langer, and I am the Program Administrator for Instructional Technology at MCIU in the Office of Professional Learning. And this series, Talking EdTech, is all about meeting with vendors, providers, thought leaders in the space of educational technology, and really looking at solutions that are improving classroom experiences, expanding learning opportunities for students. And today we have an awesome opportunity to take a look at a platform that's very open for schools to get access with and start rolling out in a very short order, and that is called EVERFI. We have two members from the EVERFI team joining us today, Lauren and Alan, so I'm going to hand it off to them to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Kopecki. I'm your local EVERFI implementation specialist. I'm a former 13-year teacher, too. I'm here to help school districts in Montgomery County with supporting teachers with professional development trainings, as well as tech support and getting students registered and online with our courses.
And I'm Alan Prendergast. I'm a director here for EVERFI's Northeast region. So I'm supporting schools and my team, which includes Lauren, to help implement EVERFI resources throughout Pennsylvania and the Northeast area. Born and raised in PA. My wife is actually an elementary school teacher here in Montgomery County as well. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're all PA on this call today, which is awesome. It doesn't always happen on this series that we do, so that's great. A little bit of local flavor there. And EVERFI is a really unique product in my view. I came across it walking the floor at ISTE in 2019, last time it was in Philadelphia. And someone just kind of walked me through this product where almost anybody could kind of get their hands on it and start working in there and providing a pretty much open access virtual learning courses. And this is pre-COVID, so it was even at a time when I don't think people were necessarily actively looking for something like that, but I think that this product is unique because anybody can get rolling with it. So Alan, I'm just kind of curious, EVERFI, in terms of how it's developed, and it's come a long way since then, I should have said that, but in terms of how you developed, in terms of the product at whole, how would you guys kind of characterize what EVERFI is, what you can offer school districts, and that type of thing?
Yeah, I think, in its simplest form. So we're an EdTech company, like you mentioned. We've been able to provide no cost digital resources to K-12 institutions throughout the United States and Canada, and now internationally, actually recently. We do that through our sponsorship model. So basically we get partners, some of the largest brands in the country, to provide funding. So there's absolutely no cost to any districts or schools. And as you mentioned, yeah, we've been in PA now for probably more than 10 years in terms of actively working with districts and implementing our content. And we've grown our library quite a bit. We have over 30 different supplemental resources. And really our focus, and if you've been following kind of some of our content that's been provided, we've been trying to focus on critical skill areas. We sometimes call it that missing layer in education. So things that may not always be built into the curriculum. STEM education has really been popular here in Pennsylvania. We have some great partnerships that make that possible, but even developing more in the financial capability space, that's really where we got our start. Health and wellness, career readiness has really taken off as well. So we're really trying to listen to our users, our teachers, our students, and take what feedback they're providing us and develop courses that are really going to be standard aligned and most beneficial to our PA teachers and beyond.
And Lauren, I know that you've been, you're in this area as well in Pennsylvania. What have you been seeing from users? What are they looking for that EVERFI is able to provide from a learning experience?
Absolutely. So we've partnered with different educational initiatives. We have Chapter 339, which is our career education and work standards. We actually had Wissahickon Senior High School. They took advantage of it too. The instructional coaches reached out. They said, hey, we need to expose students to career and education work standards. Are you able to roster students to, an instructional coach? And can we have artifacts as well? So we were, aligning with that educational initiative. Also with Act 158 too, I've been meeting with admin in the area in Montgomery County too. Everyone's familiar with that evidence-based pathway, giving students an additional pathway to graduation. We actually met with Montgomery County Workforce Board, I think it was 2 weeks ago too. They verbally affirmed our courses as an industry recognized credential. So we're going to work with those school districts too. I also want to highlight too, Norristown, they used our financial education suite. They're using it in their business classes as well well as applied math topics too, and personal finance. So taking advantage of those educational initiatives, how we've aligned with them too, and getting that word out. A lot of school districts have been taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I think it's great. And really quickly, we've hit a pretty wide span of different Pennsylvania-based initiatives that this product aligns to. Al, I think you mentioned the Career Ed Work Standards, and then Lauren, you just hit to, Act 339, Act 158, these things that pop up in needs, coming down through law, coming down through initiatives at the PDE and state level. Your guys' ability to be a solution and a turnkey solution to help support that, and then from a supplemental lens, is awesome. A little bit about just the courses in general. What would a student be doing in these courses? I mean, I think we're going to take a look at the platform here, but
Yeah.
anyone want to talk about just the learning experience a little bit? Alan, you mentioned the development, the sponsorship model, but what are these courses like?
Yeah, so everything's housed on our platform. So traditionally, there's a lot of different ways to implement our resources. Lauren, aligned them to a couple different initiatives, but in the classroom, these are really student-paced, student-directed supplemental resources. So you can imagine a teacher is going to log in, they're going to peruse the catalog of courses, figure out what do I want to use with my students, and then they can actually assign specific resources to their students. Any number of resources. Schools also get unlimited licenses as well, so there's no worry about a cap there. And then what's really great is once students have access, they log in, we have assessments built in. So educators are able to track student progress. Where are my students at in their understanding of this financial topic before going through the EVERFI lessons? Tracks their progress throughout the different activities. We use gamification. We use a lot of different mechanics throughout each of the lessons. Think clicking and dragging things. We use video clips. We use narration. We have a wide array of diverse characters so that hopefully students will be able to see themselves represented in our courses. That's been a big focus of ours, particularly in some of our newest resources that we've been trying to develop. And as students are working through the different interactive lessons, they're not able to just kind of set it and forget it, play that video, hop over to, Spotify, listen to some music or something else. They're actually going to be needing to engage with the platform, which is great. They get immediate feedback as well, right? If they misplace something or they get an incorrect answer, they're going to be able to kind of guess and check and try again and figure out what needs to be done to keep progressing on through that lesson. And teachers can track all this from their dashboard, which we can show probably a little bit later on, which is great because they can see, okay, where were my students before? Where were they after? What areas maybe do I need to extend outside of the EVERFI platform and maybe spend a little bit more time, with my students to make sure that they're really understanding these concepts. So those are kind of some of the things that you'll see across the library of courses. Like I said, 30 plus different resources. There's a lot of different ways to use the content and to intermingle the different lessons throughout a particular unit or a semester, however, educators want to do that.
Yeah, and a couple things they highlighted there that I like it here, and I think we'll take a look in a minute, but just the fact that we're not, it is supplemental. You're not locked into using it in one way, shape, or form. Secondly, the learning experience is a little bit beyond just watching an online video. There's pieces of the learning sequence that are intentional and require engagement, and I think that that's something that more and more we're seeing in the space, but traditionally may have not really been there. It was more just based on here's some content, here's a quiz. So those checkpoints for understanding and seeing a little bit more of learning theory embedded in is good to hear. So why don't we go ahead and hop over and just kind of take a look and see what what the experience and the user experience looks like.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is Endeavor, our STEM career exploration course. What I really like about this course too, students at first, they take an about me quiz. It analyzes students' strengths, learning styles, and interests, and it caters a STEM path career that they may be interested in. That gives them the field guide too, where it shows students a day in the life of these careers. It identifies skills that the jobs require, how much money they would make too, and the education required too. So it's a real concise layout. They can see what skills are necessary for what STEM careers that they might not even know exist. So what we're going to look at today too is designing the ultimate prototype. So that's one of the modules within Endeavor. So what's nice about this, students are designing a sneaker. They're going through the entire design process. Students are getting a chance to learn the different steps as well. So Alan's just going to go through the lesson. There's obviously sound. It's interactive too. Students are not able to be happy clickers through that. So it's different aspects of the shoe, and they start prototyping the shoe as well.
And this is great because it's going to outline the 3D printers for them, right? Understanding the different components of the 3D printing process.
And they're actually going to see the 3D printer at work too. And I know even in Montgomery County too, manufacturing is a high priority occupation too. So exposing students to these STEM careers as well and aligning it to the needs of the region is really important.
So you can see here that, you know, as we're going through the lesson, the course is going to promote certain jobs, right? So CNC machinist relates back to that prototype that the students are creating, right? Working through the design process, designing their sneaker, understanding, you know, what comes next from the design to the build, to the testing, to the improvement. And then once they go through that, it actually provides them with this. So it gives them, as Lauren mentioned, right, education that they would need, projects they may be this type of a position would lead or would be a part of, skills required. And then they can come down here and say, well, does this sound like something that is of interest to me, a CNC machinist? After I read all this information, I read how I would get there, what classes I should take in high school or college. Do I like it or don't I like it? And that will then allow them to keep track of all the careers that they've then thumbed up or thumbed down. If you thumb it down, they get a different version, a different option they can look at, right? So that, you know, it's not just one size fits all. Students can actually kind of customize their experience by identifying what is most of interest to them in terms of a potential career in STEM, or in this case, industrial design. So I like this one, so we'll keep that, and we're going to be able to move on.
I think Endeavor has over 70 STEM career paths too. So students are able to, even if they're not interested in college too, there are plenty of jobs where you can have a high school diploma or some vocational training as well. They're able to say, you know what, I'm really interested in this. Let's add it to the field guide.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this as you're kind of clicking through is I'm not just seeing, I remember being in high school and being given like a list of various occupations or industries, right? Coming into the workforce, even into education, I quickly realized how many jobs there are to do in education, right? There's teaching, obviously, but there's a whole industry of work around education and supporting education. This type of experience, I feel like, is taking even something like manufacturing and parsing it out, showing that it's not just about the physical manufacturing. There's also creative design that is a part of that industry, and that's playing out in front of kids in a way that wasn't really part of, I feel, at least my career experience or a career learning experience when I was younger.
Yeah, I would totally agree there. I think too, another piece of this, you know, students will go through this process. So here you can see, like, okay, they're making the sneaker, right? Sneaker prototype. They get to identify, one, they have to follow the budget, right? And that's a skill that's transferable, whether they want to be in STEM or not. Following budgets and sticking to a budget is a skill that you need in your personal life, but in almost any job, right? You're going to have some level of a budget probably that you'll have to stick to. So even things like that were just little tidbits of skills or different things that students are being exposed to that go beyond just the listed STEM careers. I think are also positives that they're going to be pulling out and value adds, you know, for the teachers that may be doing this course with their students.
So will there be, I'm sorry, Lauren.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, is there going to be like multiple, I know we're just doing one, but are there multiple types of projects or things involved in this Endeavor experience, I guess?
I was actually just going to add to that too. So what's nice, there's a bunch of different modules in Endeavor too. I was working with a class last year and we were going over different avenues to listen to music, whether it's Pandora or it's Spotify or whatnot too. There's actually one module in Endeavor that talks about algorithms. There's somebody who's working behind the scenes on Spotify to make sure you listen to music that you actually like too. So that's a STEM career that a student might not think about that exists, but they're exposing them to that too, that, you can be creative by creating these algorithms for Spotify or Apple Music too, to be able to have those listeners really enjoy what they're listening to.
Yeah, and Endeavor's one of the courses where we were able to build kind of when it first came out years ago, it came out with 4 initial lessons. And since then, like I said, we've been taking feedback from the field, from our educators, and just from the industry at large, and kind of understanding where's kind of STEM careers, what's popular, what's becoming more necessary, right? Where are the job openings at? And we've been able to build on additional lessons that are in alignment to some of those career trajectories. So transportation logistics, right? Some words that I've never heard of probably prior to 2 years ago when I think we added that lesson for the first time, but there's a lesson all about transportation logistics now on Endeavor.
So I apologize for what I think is a rudimentary question here. Where does Endeavor fit into the broader offerings of EVERFI? Is that is it the STEM career? Is that its wing of EVERFI, or can you just quickly explain the relationship there?
Yeah. So when we talk about our courses, I mentioned a couple what we call the verticals earlier on. So that could be like financial capability, that could be STEM, that could be career readiness. Endeavor does kind of span those latter 2 categories. So we have STEM resources that really focus on physical science or math, right? Or specifically technology. This course is more career focused. So a lot of times we do see it fitting into that career space. So when educators are looking, could be a counselor, could be, folks, as Lauren mentioned, trying to cover certain career standards, perhaps, right? Exposing their students to this network of careers. Endeavor is a great way to go about doing that. So it does straddle both of those categories, because to be exposed to the careers, the students kind of have to understand what goes into that. So in this example, right, I obviously didn't put my prototype together. It can't print because I don't have enough budget, right? So they have to learn all the things that go in. So all of the, if you will, the academic STEM concepts, the design process, right? Things like that, before they can actually understand, well, what careers will actually come if I enjoy these topics or have these skills or have these interests. So in this, students will be able to really just investigate and play around with different materials. There's a description of each, gives different qualities, and they'll have to really try to figure out what is going to be the set of criteria that we need to select so that we can print in the maximum amount of time, right? These are my criteria up here. It has to be flexible, strong, has to be under $20, and it has to be within 2 hours of time in terms of the printing. So students will be able to play with these criteria to hopefully get themselves there. So we're always looking at, different statistics. I think another one with this is trying to get young women, right, more interested in STEM careers, which we know is the data shows us that that's not always the case, especially early on, right? That's when students are really formative, right? They're trying to determine, what am I interested in, right? Middle school, before they get to high school, as you mentioned, they're able to pick those more specialized classes or decide, do I want to go to a tech school or a college or university? So we're always trying to talk with districts to figure out, the best way to implement this course to achieve their goals. And if their goal is to get students exposed to more topics and more areas, this is a great way to go about doing that in a short period of time, right? They don't need to use all 5 or 6 lessons. They can pick out the 2 or 3 that are going to fit best in their limited time the limited instructional time that they have, right? So this course in particular is a great fit there, but really all of our courses, being flexible, being supplemental, again, not fully built out curriculum. We have additional resources. We have lesson plans, we have discussion guides, we have other activities that teachers can extend learning. But that's, by no means required. If you wanted to use just the digital lessons, and that's what achieves your goals, and you're more than welcome to do that.
You were just kind of mentioning, Alan, all the other things that are in there that teachers have to access. I think where a lot of people might be, if they see something like this is awesome. How do I get started? And Lauren, you mentioned earlier about, working specifically with some Montgomery County schools, but how would a district kind of get rolling with EVERFI if they want to learn more about the product? And then if they see like what they see and they have a vision for it already, what steps could they take to get started?
Yeah, so we'd love them to reach out to Lauren or I. As we mentioned at the top of the hour, Lauren is really the local support for Montgomery County. But even if folks aren't in Montgomery County and seeing this, she's supporting really all of Eastern Pennsylvania. So she would be your go-to person to really help get you set up if you're a district administrator and you're interested in just kind of learning more about what is available and how could it fit into some of the other initiatives that you're already doing. Because we know that EVERFI is not going to be a silver bullet. It's not going to solve all of your goals or not help you achieve all of your goals, but it's going to support what you're already doing. So we're happy to have those conversations with you, help kind of curate a list of courses that really you might find most valuable. And if you're a teacher and you're looking to get started, everfi.net is the webpage that you want to go to. And that'll allow you to create your account. So we have a list of schools already built out. Again, no cost, no contracts to sign, nothing like that. Anyone can just go to that website. They would identify that they're a teacher. They would identify what state they're in, and then they would be able to pick their school off of a list and get started that day if they wanted to.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to, as I always do, list, contact information over the top of us talking here and put the links up there. So feel free to, if you're watching this, feel free to, click in and go explore what EVERFI has to offer at a broader scale. I think today we've just seen a wonderful platform that's interactive, that's engaging for people to engage in project-based things that traditionally may have been expensive or cost prohibitive for classrooms to try and learn something like this. So I think that's I'm really, Alan, I've never seen that one before. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great one. We were trying to figure out which one do we want to show, today. And I think this one, it encompasses a lot of different components that all of our courses have. So, and it looks cool, sneaker, getting to customize your own sneaker prototype. I think it's relatable too for students. If this is the first forte they have into EVERFI, hopefully it gets them hooked and gets them interested.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you both hopping on with me today. Again, we'll put your contact information there. And if there's anything that you guys have that's new and exciting, please feel free to share. I'll more than welcome, or I'll definitely add it to the post and stuff on our learning network. If this is your first episode of Talking EdTech, we do this, as we find great things in the marketplace that might be of interest for you, particularly opportunities like this that are of no cost to schools are a no-brainer in my opinion. But you can view any of these on our MCIU Learning Network, which is learn.mciu.org. Again, we just host conversations. We like to talk EdTech and find out what's going to help improve learning opportunities for students. So thank you both for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity for having us.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Thank you for watching. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me directly. If you are a content provider or vendor, or even just thought leader in the space, you like to talk EdTech, please reach out. Here's my email address for you, and we'll see you all next time.